Hey, this is Awais with EminiPlayer.net, and this is a recap for Tuesday, September 4th. Let's quickly go over the trade plan for the day. So, overnight, ES found responsive sellers at 1409, and then heading into the day session, we were using 1405 to 1407 as the bull-bear zone to establish directional bias. On the downside, we had support at 99.75 to 1401.75. On the upside, resistance at 1409. And due to the econ reports out at 9 a.m., the expectation was for ES to remain range bound and balance within initial support and 1409. And then we were expecting a directional move off the ISM manufacturing index. Bigger picture, we're still looking for a move away from 1409. We got a little bit of that today. Let's head over to the charts. Okay, so this is our opening range chart, 2500 volume. We can see that we open at 0375, test the bull bear zone where we get rejection, responsive sellers right off the open. And if we look at the 1 minute, we can see that the internals open weak, holding below 0 on the S&P advanced decline, and the tick is quite weak as well, holding above 0 over here, but not really much upside momentum. And then if we look at the VIX, we can see that the VIX actually had a large gap up, which was a pretty big clue for some early downside off the open. So basically, rotate down, responsive buyers, initial support, hold to the tick. 1402 was called out as a level to buy as well in the trading room. From there, we get a rotation back up to the opening range, and rejection followed by the news. And then on the news, we essentially just sold off. This is a quick little buy response here, but then we fail at the opening range. Internals are weak, tick is weak, tick starts making new lows, price starts making new lows. So this was an aggressive short setup. If you were fast enough to hop on board, I think there was plenty of time to get on board on the short side. We're holding below bull bear. We have weak internals, weak tick. VIX is making gapped up and was near the highs. So plenty of reasons to look for shorts over here with target at this support zone down here. So on first test, we get responsive buyers, a little weak buy response. But given the internals, the important point over here is that we want to be looking to short the bounces, right? We have this linear directional move down below 1400. Sellers in control. Internals are looking quite weak. So we want to be looking to short the bounces over here. And a nice way to get on board on the short side is to look for a positive tick reading and then enter short on that positive tick reading, right? So you can see over here, tick pokes above 0. You can take that technically if you want to. This one's even nicer, testing the positive 600 level. Again, that's a short-term momentum high, and another reason to look for short because the internals are still weak. We're holding below 1400. It's looking like at this point that this may turn out to be a trend day, right? It's a little bit early to say, but internals are quite weak, and we want them to get weaker if that trend down is going to work out. So far, price is telling us that sellers are still in control. Push lower, break below last week's low, 95 quarter, and we get responsive buyers over here. And then we get a push back up. And so far, this is just kind of ranging over here. It's turning out to, it was shaping up to be a B-shaped long liquidation type profile at the time when this was happening. That's not how the day ended up, but that's how it was looking at the time. Now, these neutral extreme days or neutral days are pretty difficult to trade, right? Because we don't really get any range extension on either side of the IB, right? Below the IB low, responsive buyers are active, and then we get a directional push, and then responsive sellers are active above the IB high, but we need to look for clues on how we can spot that reversal that happens intraday. And I'm just going to quickly go over some clues on what we could have used to get on the long side and avoid getting stopped out if we were taking shorts. Up till this point in time, right over here, I think shorts are fine, right? This is something I posted on Twitter, and I believe it was copied into the chat room as well. Was that 1397 to 1399 is key, and as long as we hold below it, sellers are in control. But if we reject and we start breaking above it, then we can actually get a short covering spike, right? That was the main idea. So we were keeping a close eye on this 97 to 99. Now let's look for clues on why this move happened, right? And what we could have done to either get out of the way or, better yet, get on the long side. So first clue, we're rejecting 97, right? We're rejecting the VPOC at the time, and we're rejecting the IB low. So two clues right there. Second is that this rotation down here off this 99.75, this rotation needs to lead to new lows for this setup to work out. And if it doesn't, then we're probably going to play out that short covering scenario. Fourth clue, we're not really getting much below zero. You can see that there's not a lot of downside momentum, and every little bounce is actually getting more upside momentum, right? So this is not the type of action we want to see. We want to see tick getting at negative 600 and below it for that downside momentum to play out. So if you're short over here, right, this is what you want to see. You want this to go lower, and you want to see the tick heading much lower as well, and then rejecting. Basically, you want to see the opposite of this action is what you need. And the fourth clue is that tick makes a new high. We're tagging close to 1,000 over here, right over here. New momentum high, followed by new price high. And this idea of new momentum high followed by price high again really applies at key levels, right? I mean, if this idea is happening when ES is trading 1390, 1392, doesn't matter as much unless this entire scenario kind of shifts down, right? The VPOC shifts down, the IB low is lower as well. But where this is happening right now, above the day session VWAP, above the midpoint, this is likely going to lead to new highs on the day, and that short covering scenario is probably in play at this point. So if you're short, either you're taking small gains here or you're getting stopped out at very small losses and then looking to reverse your position. This is a discussion we had in the chat room near the close. This kind of trading requires a very agile and very flexible mindset. You can't be too committed to one side in order to trade this kind of price action. You have to be able to flip and realize that you're on the wrong side if you're short, and then flip and get long. If you're long from earlier, if you're long from support, I mean, then you're looking good anyway. Then this is an easy trade, and none of this applies to you. But if you were looking short, then you want to flip within this zone right here, and a good way to re-enter, if you missed this long entry, and let's say you want to get on the long side, is to look for a rotation down on the tick and then buy that. Right? This is a short-term momentum low, and you want to buy somewhere where tick is heading close to zero or possibly even below zero a little bit. So from that point forward, we get this linear move up. I'm sure a lot of shorts were stopped out in this move, and we test the 1408 value area high. Now this is a great spot. If you missed any of these trades, this is a great spot to look to definitely exit if you were long, but also consider hopping on board on the short side, because 1408 is the value area high from Friday, and we need to see initiative internals on the upside for price to continue in this direction, right? And if we look at the S&P AD, we can see that we're barely above 100. Even if we were at 200, I'd be looking to short this on first test. We need to see much stronger internals for ES to hold above 1408. So this is a great spot to get short if you missed this earlier setup here. IB high is a scale out target, but really we're looking for a more of a pullback down because the idea is that this spike over here, a lot of it was artificial buying from short covering, right? So once the shorts have covered, the market is left with more sellers than buyers, or at least more aggressive sellers than buyers. So we're looking for a rotation back down. So this played out pretty well into the close. Given the upside move, though, we were still expecting a little pop at support levels, and you can see that 1402 holds to a tick. 1402 is the value area low from Friday, and we get a pop into the bull bear zone into the close. And again, we're testing this negative 600 tick. Typically good spots to enter long if you're looking for a long setup. Those negative 600 ticks are short-term momentum lows, and typically you'll get edge on the long side very quickly if you're entering at the key support zones. So that is a recap of the day. Let's go over some metrics real quick. Value shifted lower today. We rejected below last week's low and made a really decent run up. Much higher than expected, given how weak we were looking early in the session. But at this point, we're going to be using 96.5 to 98.5 as the bull bear zone. Ahead of that, we're going to be using 1399.75 to 1401.75 as support. And as long as we hold above that 96.5 to 98.5, we'll be looking for buyers to have edge and test some of those higher levels at 1410 half, 1409, 1415. Those are some upside objectives that we'll be looking for now going forward, as long as ES holds above the 96 half to 98 half. So that is a recap on the day. Any questions? Please post them in the comments, and I'll address them there. Or log on to the live trading room. We're running the free trial all this week, and I'm active early in the session, and then I also sign on near the close to answer any questions, go over the day, discuss any setups, any confusion, really any way that we can help clarify the market picture for you. We're going to do through this live trading room. So I hope you'll join us in the morning, and we will talk then. Take care. Have a good night.